Have you ever questioned whether the thoughts in your mind truly belong to you? What if I told you that your mind has been tricking you this whole time? The way you perceive your thoughts, ideas, and even your worries might be based on a great illusion. In today's video, we're going to explore a truth so deep and revealing that it has the power to completely change the way you see yourself and how you interact with the world around you. What you're about to discover could transform your life forever. So get ready, because after this journey, you'll never see your mind the same way again. The illusion of thought ownership. Have you ever stopped to wonder where your thoughts come from? Most people assume that every thought they have is uniquely theirs, created by their own mind. But what if that belief is nothing more than an illusion? The truth is that thoughts appear spontaneously, without you inviting them. They come, they linger for a while, and then they disappear. Yet, we insist on calling them ours. But why? Simply because that's what we've been taught. Since childhood, we've learned that our mind belongs to us and that everything that goes through it is our creation. But this perception is flawed. Try something simple right now. Stop thinking for a few seconds. Close your eyes and command your mind to be completely silent. What happened? Most likely, your mind became even noisier. That's because thoughts are not something you do, they are something that happens. They come and go like waves in the ocean. And if thoughts are not truly yours, then what defines who you really are? This is the question that changes everything. When you realize that you are not your thoughts but rather the awareness that observes them, you take a massive step toward inner freedom. Instead of identifying with every thought that arises, you start to see them for what they truly are, temporary phenomena, like clouds passing through the sky. Imagine sitting by a river, watching leaves float downstream. These leaves are your thoughts. You can observe them passing by, but you don't have to grab onto any of them. The problem is that most of the time, we hold on to the leaves. We pick one up, analyze it, hold it tightly, and often, we don't even realize we're doing it. The key to mental freedom is observation. The more you become aware of your thoughts without clinging to them, the more you realize they do not define you. The mind will continue to generate thoughts, but you no longer have to be trapped in them. But if thoughts are not yours, where do they actually come from? Before we continue, please share this video with someone who can benefit of this content. You have never truly thought anything original. Here's a shocking truth: you have never had a truly original thought. This might sound strange at first, but think about it. Where do your thoughts actually come from? Do you believe you create each idea from scratch? Or is your mind more like an echo, reflecting everything it has absorbed throughout life? The reality is that your mind is like a sponge. From the moment you were born, you have been absorbing information from your surroundings, your culture, the media, conversations, experiences. Everything you think of as a new idea is actually a rearrangement of things you have already seen, heard, or felt before. Think of your mind as a radio. A radio doesn't create the music it plays, it simply tunes into different frequencies. Similarly, your mind doesn't manufacture thoughts, it picks up ideas that already exist in the world. This explains why so many people have similar insights at the same time, even without communicating with each other. Have you ever noticed how inventions, trends, and even scientific discoveries often emerge simultaneously in different parts of the world? Thought is not as individual as it seems. But if thoughts are just reflections of the external world, does that mean you have no control over them? The answer is both yes and no. You can choose which thoughts to focus on, but you cannot stop them from appearing. They simply arise, like unexpected guests. Now consider this: if all your thoughts are influenced by the world around you, then who, or what, is the real thinker? If thoughts come and go without your full control, are they truly yours? This question completely transforms your relationship with your mind. Because when you realize that thoughts are merely echoes of what you have absorbed, you begin to question which ideas truly serve you and which are just mental noise. And this leads to an even deeper level of understanding. How about you give a like to this video? It will help this message to reach more people. The mind as a survival mechanism. Your mind was not designed to make you happy, it was designed to keep you alive. This simple truth explains why so many people suffer from anxiety, overthinking, and constant worries. The mind is always on high alert, scanning for threats even when none exist. Imagine being a prehistoric human. For our ancestors, survival depended on being hyper-aware of their surroundings, identifying potential predators, finding food, avoiding danger. A constantly active and vigilant mind was essential. Now, fast forward to today. You no longer need to escape from wild animals or hunt for food. But your mind still operates in the same way. Instead of worrying about physical threats, it now obsesses over deadlines, social validation, and hypothetical problems that may never happen. This is why your mind is never satisfied. Even when everything is going well, it will find something to worry about. It is always scanning for potential threats, even when there are none. The problem is that this ancient programming can become a trap. When you identify too much with your mind, you end up becoming its prisoner. Instead of using your mind as a tool, you allow it to control you. But there is a way out. You don't need to fight your mind, just understand it. Once you recognize that it is simply trying to protect you, even when it's unnecessary, you can start using it more consciously. The secret lies in realizing that you are not your mind, you are the one observing it. And when that distinction becomes clear, something magical happens. You stop being a victim of your thoughts and start choosing which ones deserve your attention. But if you are not your mind, then who are you? The observer behind your thoughts. If you are not your mind, then who are you? This is one of the deepest questions you can ask yourself. And the answer isn't found in thoughts, it's something you must directly experience. Imagine that your mind is like a movie screen. Your thoughts, emotions, and sensations are the images projected onto it. For most of your life, you've been so immersed in the movie that you forgot one simple truth: you are not the story being played, you are the one watching it. Try this, close your eyes for a moment and observe your mind. Notice the next thought that arises. Who is it that is aware of this thought? Who is watching? This awareness is not another thought. It is the silent presence that notices everything that happens in your mind. That is the real you. This realization changes everything. Instead of reacting automatically to every thought and emotion, you start creating space between yourself and your mental activity. This space is incredibly liberating. Being the observer means that you no longer need to get lost in the storms of your mind. You can just watch. Thoughts come and go, but you remain. Emotions arise and fade, but the awareness that perceives them stays untouched. This state of observation is what many spiritual teachers call presence. When you are present, your mind loses its grip on you. You begin to see that you don't have to identify with every thought that appears. You can simply let them pass, like clouds drifting in the sky. And when you learn to live this way, you discover something astonishing. The peace you have always sought is not in thoughts, but in the space between them. But how can you detach from the endless stream of thoughts in everyday life? Detaching from the thought stream. Detachment from thoughts doesn't mean ignoring them or trying to suppress them. It means seeing them for what they truly are, temporary, ever-changing, and often irrelevant to the present moment. Most people believe that peace of mind comes from controlling their thoughts. But the real secret isn't control, it's observation. The more you try to force thoughts to disappear, the stronger they become. The mind is like a restless ocean. Trying to suppress it is like attempting to stop waves with your hands. The most effective way to detach from thoughts is to simply watch them without reacting. When a thought appears, notice it without labeling it as good or bad. Just acknowledge that it's there and let it pass, like a leaf floating down a river. This practice is known as mindfulness. It allows you to create space between yourself and your thoughts, helping you see them as just one part of your experience rather than something that defines you. To strengthen this awareness, try this simple exercise. Find a quiet place and close your eyes. Take a deep breath and bring your attention to the natural rhythm of your breathing. Don't try to change it, just observe it. Soon, thoughts will begin to arise. When they do, simply recognize their presence, as if saying, "Ah, there's a thought." Instead of following it or pushing it away, imagine it as a leaf floating down a stream. Watch it drift without attachment. If you find yourself getting lost in thought, gently bring your focus back to your breath, without frustration. At first, your mind will resist. Thoughts may seem overwhelming, trying to pull you back into their flow. But with practice, you will realize that you don't need to identify with them. A deep silence will start to emerge between the thoughts, and within that silence, you will find something profoundly freeing, the understanding that you are not your mind, but the awareness behind it. And in that silence lies something even more powerful. But what happens when you fully immerse yourself in this stillness? The power of silence. Silence is more than just the absence of sound. It is a gateway to a deeper understanding of yourself, a space where the mind can finally rest, and you can experience the essence of your being. But in today's world, silence has become a rare luxury. We are constantly surrounded by noise, notifications, conversations, endless streams of thoughts. And without realizing it, we run from silence every chance we get. When was the last time you allowed yourself to be completely silent, without distractions, without reaching for your phone, without engaging in internal chatter? For many people, silence is uncomfortable. As soon as the external world quiets down, the internal noise gets louder. The mind starts racing, searching for problems to solve, memories to replay, or future scenarios to worry about. But why does this happen? The mind fears silence because in silence, it loses control. When you allow yourself to simply be still, without reacting to thoughts, something fascinating happens. Your thoughts begin to slow down on their own. It's like a lake that naturally settles when no one is stirring the water. In silence, you access a deeper intelligence. The answers you seek aren't in thoughts, but in the space between them. Some of the greatest insights and moments of clarity don't come from thinking harder, but from allowing the mind to rest. This is why moments of silence feel so healing. To reconnect with this inner stillness, try a simple practice. Set aside 5 minutes a day to be completely silent. Sit in a comfortable place, close your eyes, and simply listen to the sounds around you without judging them. Then, turn your attention inward. Feel your breath, notice the sensations in your body, and observe the silence between your thoughts. At first, your mind will try to pull you back into noise, but simply return to the stillness. With practice, these small moments of silence will begin to transform your life. You will become less reactive, more present, and more deeply connected to yourself. Conversations will have more depth because you won't feel the need to fill every pause with words. Decisions will come with greater ease because they will be rooted in clarity rather than confusion. Silence doesn't disconnect you from life, it connects you to it more deeply than ever before. And the more you cultivate this connection, the more you begin to realize just how conditioned your mind has been throughout your life. But is everything you believe about yourself really yours? Breaking free from mental conditioning. Most of the thoughts you have are not truly yours. They were implanted in your mind throughout your life, shaped by your upbringing, your culture, your education, and your past experiences. From a young age, you were taught what to value, what to fear, and how to see the world. But does all of this truly reflect who you are? Mental conditioning works like a background program running in your mind. It influences how you think, feel, and act without you even realizing it. You may believe you're making free choices, but many of those choices are guided by beliefs you've never questioned. How many times have you caught yourself repeating thoughts like, "I'm not good enough, success requires suffering," or "things never work out for me"? These ideas feel natural, but they were implanted at some point in your life, by parents, teachers, the media, or past experiences. And the most surprising part? They continue influencing you only because you've never stopped to question them. The key to breaking free from mental conditioning is simple but requires courage. Start questioning your own thoughts. The next time a limiting belief arises, ask yourself, where did this come from? Is it actually true? Does this belief still serve me? Most of the time, you'll realize that these ideas are nothing more than unconscious repetitions of what you learned in the past. A powerful method for this process is reflective writing. Take a piece of paper and write down the recurring thoughts and beliefs that appear in your mind. Then, try to trace each one back to its origin. You may be shocked to find that many of your ideas about yourself and life were inherited from other people, and that they may no longer align with who you are today. As you break free from conditioning, life begins to appear clearer. Your decisions are no longer based on fear or outdated rules imposed by others, but on what truly resonates with your authentic self. You become the creator of your own reality rather than just a reflection of what you were taught to be. But there is one last great illusion that still holds many people in suffering. The illusion of control. The human mind craves control. We plan, anticipate, analyze, and try to predict every detail of life as if that would guarantee our security. But no matter how much effort we put in, the truth is that control is an illusion. Life follows its own flow, independent of our desires, and the more we try to force it, the more we suffer. Think about how many times you tried to control a specific outcome. You planned everything, worried, analyzed every detail, and in the end, things didn't go as expected. That's because reality doesn't bend to our wishes. And when this happens, frustration, anxiety, and fear take over. But is the problem really with the world, or is it in our insistence that things must go exactly as we imagine? Ironically, the more we try to control, the less peace we have. We stay stuck in a state of constant tension, fearing what might go wrong, always on high alert. And even when we get what we want, the mind immediately jumps to the next thing to control. There is never any rest. True freedom comes when we accept that we don't have control over everything, and that we don't need to. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up on life or stopping to take action. It means releasing the need for things to happen our way. The difference between acting with intention and acting with attachment is lightness. Life has its own natural flow. Just as a river finds its path without forcing its direction, we too can learn to trust how things unfold. When we stop resisting and accept the unpredictability of life, we find something far more powerful than control. We find peace. The secret is not to control life but to learn to navigate it with awareness. This brings us to a fundamental question: if we are not our thoughts, and we cannot control everything, who are we really? The answer lies in connecting with the part of us that observes everything without being affected by the mind's chaos. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. The role of the inner observer. Beneath the constant chatter of your mind, there is a quiet presence, the inner observer. This observer is not your thoughts, not your emotions, not even your personality. It is the silent awareness that witnesses everything without attachment. Imagine that your mind is the sky and your thoughts are the clouds. Some clouds are light and fleeting, while others are dark and heavy. But the sky remains untouched by them. No matter how turbulent the weather gets, the sky itself does not change. In the same way, the observer within you is never disturbed by the storms of your thoughts. Have you ever noticed that you can observe your own thoughts? If you can see them, that means you are not them. This realization is incredibly powerful because it means you no longer have to be a slave to your mind. Connecting with your inner observer is a transformative experience. It allows you to step back from your thoughts and see them for what they really are, temporary mental events, not absolute truths. Instead of being swept away by every emotion or worry, you can simply watch them with clarity and detachment. This shift in perspective is life-changing. Suddenly, challenges don't consume you as they once did. Emotions no longer control you. Thoughts no longer define you. You become anchored in something much deeper, the awareness that remains still, no matter what happens in your mind. The more you strengthen your connection with this observer, the more peaceful and balanced you become. But there's one final step to fully integrating this understanding: learning to live beyond the mind. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. Living beyond the mind. Living beyond the mind doesn't mean stopping your thoughts or rejecting reasoning. It means understanding that the mind is just a tool, useful when needed, but not something that should control you all the time. When you realize this, you stop being a prisoner of your thoughts and start using them consciously instead of being used by them. Most people spend their lives trapped inside their own heads, reliving the past or anticipating the future, rarely experiencing the present moment. But life only happens now. The past is just a memory, and the future is just imagination. When you step out of this endless thought cycle, you discover something extraordinary. The peace you've always been looking for isn't in achieving something external, it's in simply being present. Living beyond the mind means acting without being driven by fear. It means making decisions based on intuition and clarity instead of endless worries and doubts. It means realizing that you don't need to fix every negative thought or solve every uncomfortable emotion, just observe them, let them come and go, without resistance. The key to this freedom is simple: presence. Being present means bringing your attention to the now, feeling your body, noticing your breath, listening to the sounds around you without judgment. The more you practice presence, the more you realize you don't have to be swept away by the mind's endless stream of thoughts. This is the freedom that has always been available to you. Now that you know this path, the choice is yours: continue being a prisoner of your thoughts or awaken to the awareness that has always been beyond them. If this video resonated with you, like, share, and let me know in the comments how this message impacted your journey. See you in the next one.